So welcome back to the third episode of Nothing Off Limits, and today I've got my very great friend Simran.
Hi.
Now, for those of you that have watched my first episode, you know it was with Samuel. Initially, my first episode was planned with Simran, and the idea for Nothing Off Limits actually stemmed from us.
I think this was when we went to get chai.
I think it was at Starbucks during
Oh, no, yeah, it was at Starbucks when we were talking about like anything and everything. It was
during Ramadan.
when
I came
when
to
we were
revise.
going to Starbucks in the car.
Oh yeah.
It was in the car.
One of those times. This is when it started, basically.
Anywho.
And we did plan this episode to be in Paris, and we had some other content coming, but the problem with life and the problem with making content is sometimes it just doesn't go to plan. Making this is actually more difficult than it seems, making good quality content, but
No,
we're here
actually, it took us like what 2 years to just 2 years, 2 hours to just set up.
It took us 2 hours just to set up for a camera today. So guys, in this episode, you're not really gonna get a lot of camera angles, and I'm sorry for that. But if you guys keep liking, you keep subscribing, you keep watching these videos, yeah, eventually I'll be able to afford another camera, and that way we're gonna have better content for you.
We're broke uni students. I am.
She is a broke uni
I
student.
am.
Let's not talk about what I'm doing with life right now. I'm making this podcast, and we'll leave it at that. So anyway, I think when we penciled this episode to be written, I think we really wanted to talk about
We were going for like woke things and like like religion and women empowerment and all of that.
Yeah. So we were talking about everything, if I'm honest.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I know everything isn't gonna make one episode for today, so I think let's pick up on something more recent. We honestly had a lot of content planned together, and I feel like I still do want to delve into that. But let's delve into a little bit of life right now. Anyway, like what's going on in life. You've obviously just moved to university.
Uni.
What is that experience like?
It's maddening. That's all I'm gonna say. The other day, at 3 a.m, I was asleep in bed, right? Like honestly, the coziest person I've ever been in life. Someone knocks on my window because I'm on ground floor. Someone knocks on my window. By the time I get dressed to like check who it is, this, that, the other, there's no one there. I go into the kitchen. There's like 7 people just drinking, and then chatting out of their ass, being like, oh yeah, we saw someone running out. We saw someone walking around and they were knocking on windows. And I was like, okay. Looked out, again, absolutely nobody. So there was just a ghost knock on my window at 3 a.m, which woke me up. Honestly, that sums up the entire uni life in every way possible.
Do you feel like not moving to uni would have been better for you?
I'm brown. I think it's good that I moved out.
So many things we plan, and things just end up going in a completely different direction. Like, you wake up, in the morning, and you expect that life will just go your way. And I feel like there are times in life where things just do not work. And honestly, today is one of those days. We woke up thinking that life would go a certain way. However, it's decided to take a turn. I mean, for me, in this case, a camera died, the laptop keeps switching off, and as a one-man production so far, it's a little bit like, okay.
All you need to know is nothing's going according to plan, and I have been bed rotting. Literally.
What do you think is the meaning of life? What do you feel like?
The meaning of
life. As someone who bed rots.
As someone who bed rots. I have a reason to bed rot right now, okay? But I don't know. I honestly do not know. It switches in my head, Like sometimes I'm like, oh, life has a bigger purpose, this, that, the other. Life revolves around me and I am the main character and this, that, the other, right? And then sometimes I'm like, nothing matters. Just do whatever the fuck you feel like.
But life does have a purpose ultimately, right? I know you, and I know you're someone who's big on the purpose and meaning of life.
Yeah, and I'm sure it does, but like, either it can be a purpose for like everyone, like a big, huge purpose for the world, right? Or it can be like the smallest purpose for you. Like, my purpose literally could be cooking or learning how to cook, right? But then it could also be, I don't know, saving Palestine.
Yeah, but one is on a slightly smaller scale, and the other is a global scale.
Exactly. And like for every single individual, the purpose is different. So some people, they concentrate on their individual little small purposes, which is personal to them. And some people spend their entire life on a global scale for like the world problems, world hunger, like poverty, homelessness,
Hmm.
all of those fancy things.
But where do you think they find this purpose? Is it something that you're born with? Do you think you can be
No.
born with the purpose, or do you think you live life in a way and life sort of just leads you into finding a purpose? And can your purpose change, actually?
Yeah, of course it can. Of course it can. I think the purpose comes to you the way that you live life, given your individual experiences. So, like, let's say if someone has been facing a lot of issues in their personal life really close to them, then their purpose will probably be a lot more personal to them than compared to someone who's had a very like stable personal life, but then they have experienced a lot of issues outside with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who are facing issues with other people will probably have like a more global problem to solve than someone who was literally born in a dysfunctional family, for example, because they have so many issues so close to them, but their purpose would be personal to them. So it honestly depends on what kind of issues you face in life and like where do you face them. The further away you face them from you and your personal life, the more global or like bigger, as they like to say, the bigger your purpose is. But I don't think any purpose is bigger or smaller.
I think, yeah, every purpose, I guess, is individual.
Yeah.
But then some people do have purposes that encompass everyone else, and some people are selfish.
I won't call them selfish. I mean, honestly, right, I'll tell you what. Earlier on this week, I found out that one of the girls that I went to school with, she passed away because of suicide.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, her purpose, if her purpose was something personal to her, something small, that might have not happened. You know what I mean?
I'm very sorry to cut that up, but how old was she?
Oh, she was 2 years younger than me. She was like 18. She was 18. The Facebook is flooded with like Forever 18 and pictures of her and her horses because she was a horse rider and everything.
That is sad.
Exactly.
Young,
So like,
you don't want anyone to lose their life when they're young.
you don't want anyone to lose their life, full stop.
No,
Not because of this.
you are
at
right,
least.
but I think when you're younger, especially, I think
Yeah. They say
The-
smaller the coffin, the heavier the hearts.
heavier the hearts.
How did we get to such serious topics?
There's nothing wrong with serious topics. It's just that one was moving.
That one was like, ugh.
That one was moving very quickly.
Yeah.
I feel like media and the content we get is dramatically reduced. I feel like I'm not the only one saying this, but now films just don't film the same way. Music doesn't music the same way. Like the vibes
Yeah.
from back in the day, and you can call me a guy in living in his nostalgia moment, but I think music hit better in the past. Films hit better in the past.
The exact same songs, which are coming out now, like with the remakes and shit, it just does not hit the same.
No, it doesn't.
None of the songs are hitting the same. No movies are hitting the same. I don't know if it's like an age thing where we are personally growing up and it's just things don't feel as lively as they used to, or like the media itself is just going down the drain.
But you say that, I'll happily sit and watch a film from like my parents' generation.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll listen to music from them and I still enjoy it. But when I listen to music today, it just doesn't. It feels repeated. It feels like there's nothing new.
They all, literally all of them, have the exact same tune.
And I don't think that idea is just for music. Even when you look at cars now, I think as a car lover, cars used to have personality and taste. You know, they used to be good. Now every car looks the exact same. Like, have you noticed how all the branding, all the logos, they're all shifting towards this?
They all just want it to be like, even with bikes, like as someone who loves her bikes and shit, all of them are trying so hard to just stick to one specific type of bike, you know, like no one's experimenting anymore like they used to. They're all just, every single bike, if it's a sports bike, they all just look the exact same. If it's a naked bike, they all look the exact same. If it's a cruiser, they all look the same. Like slowly, so if we had these many types of bikes, yeah, they're all just merging into one and like into different directions, you know. Even with cars, if it's like an SUV, all the SUVs are looking the exact same. It's the exact same problem with songs as well. Like, yeah, we have different genres of songs, but in those specific genres, every single song is the exact same. You know, and we do not have like overlaps of genres as much, or you know, like at least in mainstream.
Even the lyrics, they seem repeated, they seem boring, they seem... It's like we've been there and we've done that, but it was better in 2019.
No, you know all the lyrics. All I hear is sex, women, men, love, heartbreak. Like, can you move away from the heart and the dick, please? Like, it's about time. It's about time. Start singing about, I don't know, your childhood, for example. Everyone's growing up.
Don't call me a conspiracy theorist for this one, but I did see a very interesting TikTok and somebody's viewpoint on this. And I'm gonna bring it up.
On.
So, have you noticed how cars and car brands, they're all shifting towards this really boxy, really plain. There's no personality in cars. So this guy went on to talk about how 20 years ago we had a whole load of car enthusiasts. Okay, we're moving towards a time where we want to bring in only electric vehicles. We want to get rid of petrol cars, and so slowly, when you have a look at it,
Yeah.
the cars are slowly dying out as well.
All of it is.
And so this guy's theory went on is the future generation, they don't want them to be car enthusiasts. So if you make plain and boring cars and you slowly bring them into circulation, eventually you're going to have a group of people in the future, not us, who don't really care about cars. They don't care about modifications. They don't care about the need to drive. And obviously that also goes hand in hand with getting rid of petrol cars, coming into bringing in these electric cars, and just trying to remove...
But the petrol cars are never going out of business. They're trying their hardest to make sure that the electric cars don't actually take off.
Who's trying hard?
Every single company. Because they get so much money from all the petroleum and all the oils.
No, because companies are being like Volkswagen, for example, has incentives to sell a certain amount of electric cars, and if they don't sell X amount of electric cars right now, the government fines them per car. That's why you see so many electric cars now going at 0%, and that's why there's such a big push for electric cars, because they want people to buy electric. The government, even if the companies have a vested interest in petroleum, the governments want people to move to electric. And so how do you bring in electric cars? Well, you put in fines and you put in these things. You must have heard in the news they want to bring in pay per mile for driving. Why? Because they don't want people to drive. And obviously when we refer to driving here, we're talking about petrol cars, because as a car enthusiast, I believe there's only one type of car, and that's a car with a petrol engine. A combustion engine is the only form of car, in my opinion.
I don't know if I trust the government or the big companies for that matter. I feel like this is what happens every single time, yeah? They both get in a fucking headlock, and we're the ones who are just stuck in the middle, literally playing into their games every single time.
And thus hybrid cars were created. Cars that to me still make no sense.
I think the only hybrid car that I would actually stand by would be a Porsche Spider.
Porsche Spider?
Yeah.
Is that hybrid?
Yeah.
Ah.
It's the only hybrid that I would stand by.
You say that, but I think the only electric car that I would stand with was the Porsche, is it the Panamera? No, Taycan. The Taycan.
Yeah, the Taycan.
I think that is a beautiful electric car.
I was actually scared for a second that you were going to say Tesla.
No. Tesla, yeah. I'm sorry, Elon Musk, you've done very many good things here, but Tesla
this wasn't one of it.
Looks like a Madeleine boat cake. And I don't know if I find that attractive for anyone to drive.
No, you know what? I think Tesla is great. Not for us. Not for us.
Not for us. Okay. Tell me more. Break it down.
Right, so with Tesla, yeah, you've got cruise control. You know, ideally the driver does not really need to be at his best, you know, like peak ability to drive the car, right?
I'm with you for now.
The car, it's barely any noise, barely any emissions, right?
Okay.
It's literally like the smoothest ever thing. which we wouldn't like. We want to feel our car. We want to feel the car on the ground, you know. But with Tesla, you don't feel that. I think Tesla is amazing for people who are like 70.
But then see, this is what I'm saying. It's shifting towards a generation where people don't want to drive or don't need to drive, and it's not that
Yeah.
important to them. Like for us, and especially generations before us, driving, it was a big thing. Even now, being able to drive for our families is a very big thing, because once you can drive, all the errands are yours, all the picking and dropping. You become a glorified Uber driver essentially for your family, and I love that.
Makes sense why I don't drive.
It makes sense why you don't
I
drive,
have you as my chauffeur.
but we spend money on Ubers, we spend money on these things. I'd rather drive, but in the future, you see, they don't really care if they drive or they don't, because you'll have cars that drive for you, but I don't think they'll ever have that enjoyment factor, and that's what I'm saying. We're creating a generation of people.
Have you seen Wall-E?
Wall-E, yes, but I don't remember the storyline.
Well, do you remember like the second Earth that they had on that spaceship?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's basically what the Earth is going to become eventually. Where like everyone's just locked in a cubicle thingy, and like that cubicle's just moving here, there, everywhere, and they don't actually need to do anything.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this is just for entertainment purposes.
I think so. I think it is, yeah.
This is just for entertainment purposes.
I am putting absolutely no brain cells behind this conversation right now.
On the topic of technology, right? What's your opinion on AI?
It does all of my assignments. Honestly, it's great. It does all of my assignments. But other than that, I mean, to be fair, I think AI does have potential of like, you know, being the end of the human race. However, as of right now, AI is really, really stupid. Have you ever had a proper conversation with ChatGPT or like the my AI on Snapchat or something?
Yeah, but have you ever considered that it could be programmed to be stupid? Let's be honest. So I remember when this is for entertainment purposes only. I remember there was a time when ChatGPT, people could actually ask it intelligent questions that you shouldn't actually have answers to, like how to make dynamite, how to rob a bank. And ChatGPT, when it came out originally, was well beyond people's comprehension, and it had to be programmed so that people can't ask it things that will get them into legal trouble or to expose certain agendas.
I mean,
So there is the possibility that AI is actually quite intelligent, but right now it's in its learning phase, and AI hasn't completely taken off. But AI has a lot of dangers. Today I was in a course for domestic violence, and AI, the use of AI in domestic violence through deepfake and through apparently also now being able to take recordings without you knowing.
how?
In domestic, so basically Alexa is AI, right? So
Right,
apparently
yeah.
what I found out today in a course was the manager of an Alexa can go into the Alexa and listen in on conversations happening in and around the Alexa area, but also deepfake now. You know, with the rise of people using social media, deepfakes of people who are, I don't know, you were in a relationship, it ended up on a rocky road. Now all of a sudden there's like 10 deepfake porn videos of you out there, and
Yeah.
he's using that against you. So I feel like there are dangers in that sense.
I mean, technically,
AI.
there are dangers for everything. Like, again, I'm just being the devil's advocate. I completely agree. Where, like, AI, like I said, it has potential, but as of right now, it's a little stupid. Like, as of right now, it's the humans against the humans while messing around with AI, However, AI itself has potential of messing with humans just on its own. You know what I mean? Like, right now, we still have a bigger as in like more powerful person behind the AI.
I think right now, but I think slowly what's going to happen is there are going to be people who are going to rely solely on AI, and as soon as people become more reliant, and we'll see this as the time goes on, those people will probably reduce in intellect. And I'm saying that from a scientific point of view, whereas if you don't use brain cells, they will eventually die. Just like muscles, if you don't use them, they'll die. So I think if we build a society that's heavily reliant on AI, which is where we're going, we're going to have an extreme differentiation between people who actually use their brain and people who have a skill set compared to people who are reliant on AI.
Realistically, we're already there.
We are all relying on AI in a way,
Not
but there
even
are
AI.
certain skills.
Not even AI.
Go on.
Honestly, when was the last time you ever needed to? I'm not saying when you did, but like when you ever needed to actually put a thought behind anything. You can go on Google, you can literally search up, how do I make my girlfriend happy, for example, and it will come up with 10,000 things, out of which probably 9,000 things might even work.
You're right that you don't have to put your mind to it, but when you search Google, you're searching through a collection of websites that are written by people. Those
I know.
websites, so you're actually relying on people's opinion, whereas AI is something that is supposed to have knowledge, which is programmed knowledge,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it sort of I'm not a
Before AI,
specialist.
before AI, like before putting our entire brain to AI, we've already done that. We've already given up our brain cells and given into technology completely. If you think about it, no one actually goes out and plays hide and seek anymore. If they want entertainment, they're scrolling through TikTok, they're scrolling through Instagram. Like, even without AI taking off as it should, we are already there where we aren't using our brain cells, and like people are becoming dumber and dumber day by day, unless they specifically put in the efforts to, be better.
And you say that, and I think you make a good point because slowly you will have noticed that now everything is going towards short form content. Now, I'm an advocate for short form content. It can really blow up your business, it can blow up your brand, but there is a lot of mindless scrolling, and there is a significant lack in people's attention spans. And, governments, educational bodies, they've picked up on this, and, the dangers of social media and short form content essentially where you're just mindlessly scrolling, your attention span is reduced, and you can actually tell in the generation that say missed out on school during lockdown the significant intellectual difference between somebody who had gone to school for those 7 years, whatever it was, and not had a lockdown, and then the people who didn't finish their education, especially the younger ones. And then that's really where social media started booming. That's where 2020 really brought the
2020
big
was
boom
insane,
of
yeah.
TikTok. Instagram Reels eventually started kicking off. Recently we've had YouTube Shorts, and you can see where we're ending up.
We had Netflix, with Netflix, around this time, Netflix started taking off, like literally removing all the good movies from itself, yeah, like from the website, and it was still making so much money because people had nothing better to do. So even if it wasn't like some iconic movie which used to be on there and isn't on there anymore, people were still watching it. People would still just sat there watching it. And essentially, if you think about it, even now, like, what do you do at night before sleeping?
So you're actually talking to somebody who has a normal life routine. I don't scroll through TikTok at night. There was a time where once upon a time I probably did, because I was a social media manager. Like, I would enjoy watching scrolling through TikTok, but I actively don't sit and go through TikTok. But I know where you're trying to
No one actively
where you're
does
trying
that.
to lead this to. No, but
No one
essentially
actively does that.
that's people's form of relaxation, right? My form of
It's not
relaxation
relaxation, though. It's not relaxing.
What is it?
It's people's form of relaxation. It's not relaxing. I'm sorry.
No, it isn't relaxing. Scientifically, it's not relaxing. But you're saying, what do people do at night?
Yeah,
But
because they have
what's
nothing
the
better
deeper
to do.
purpose behind it?
There is no deeper purpose. That's the whole point. Like, yeah, at first when like internet came out, it was a big thing. It was helpful, this, that, and the other. It was supposed to help people. It was supposed to make people feel better. It was supposed to give that serotonin boost. But now all it's doing is it's giving people mental health issues.
That is deep.
Essentially, that's all it's doing. Because, right, even with ADHD, yeah, one of the major problems is you cannot control your dopamine.
Okay.
Right? If you continue scrolling through TikTok or whatever, like not just social media in general for that matter, if you're constantly just scrolling through it, if you're constantly just mindlessly looking at posts, you're having constant dopamine
But like
spikes.
you said, people are doing it mindlessly, but you're saying they actively choose that. So
No one actively chooses it. No one actively chooses it. Honestly, they'll just one moment, they have one moment, yeah, one spare moment, they'll just reach out for the phone and start doing it. They won't even put like a thought behind it. They won't even wait and think, oh, why am I doing this? Should I do that? No.
So then, do you think content should be regulated? So people should be seeing specific content rather than getting rid of the content altogether? Because what you're saying right now is social media in itself is the problem, but I would rather argue that the content on social media is the problem.
I don't think the content is, right? only because it doesn't matter what they're watching. It's the fact that they're just watching one thing after the other, one thing after the other, right? I think we've officially reached the stage where, you know how like with medicine, you keep on doing better and better and better, but then eventually you come into a full circle with medicines, right?
Okay.
That's the thing with honestly everything, even fashion, every 10 years it repeats, right? You always come in a full circle with every single thing. History always repeats itself. We've officially reached a stage where all this while with like internet, with social media, we were just trying to make it better and better and better, right? We've reached the stage where we tried making it better and better and better, but we did not know where to stop. Now we're way too far gone and we can't really take a step back. It's reached a point where we can't take a step back. You can't like suddenly just turn Instagram off. You can't go back to like using Hotmail.
You can't suddenly turn your phone off. Everything is now on your phone. Apple Pay. You can't pay without your phone. You can't access your bank without your phone. You now can't log into uni without your phone.
I can't remember the last time I used my bank card. I cannot remember the last time I used my bank card. In fact, even at uni, I need to go onto the Keel app, because obviously I'm at Keel, right? I need to go onto the Keel app and I need to check in for every single class on my phone.
Oh God.
On my phone. So I can't even attend a university lecture without my phone. We were trying to get better. We were trying to make everything so accessible. I think we've reached a stage where we've made everything a bit too accessible, and we still do not know where, like, what the sweet spot is, where everything is good enough, you know, where it's like all accessible but not too accessible.
This leads me on to a very good point that I like to just talk about, and that is we're a society and a group of people now who don't like to wait, because everything is now accessible straight away.
Yeah, that's true.
There was a time where we would wait for things. We would wait for a taxi. We would wait for food. We would wait for certain things. But now everything is as accessible as it could possibly be. Uber Eats means that you can get any food to your door without you having to leave the house. You no longer have to go out and hail a cab.
You can get girls and boys.
You just have
on
to
phone.
get an Uber. You can literally
Get
hook
laid.
up, get laid, get married, whatever it is of your preference, on your phone.
Funny story, my parents, they got married because of Shadi.com.
Wow. That is crazy.
I know. And the boy that I'm talking to right now, I met him on Tinder.
Tell us a little bit more about your parents.
About my parents.
About your parents.
What do I tell you?
Shadi.com, like.
I don't even know. So obviously, like, it's my mom and my stepdad, but obviously, like, he's my father at this point. He's adopted me and everything. Mom was gonna delete her account because she met like a lot of fake people and, I don't know, weird people. From what Mom says, the reason why my mother accepted the message request from Dad was because she liked his smile. They started talking.
Old-fashioned romance.
Not really, considering they found each other on Shadi.com, and the first time they met in person was in Ibiza.
They met in Ibiza?
They met in
Bloody
Ibiza
hell.
for the first time.
What were your parents doing in Ibiza, huh?
Going on a 5-day bender. Getting passed out on the beach.
Alright, you know what? That is a story I thought future generations were going to hear, right?
No, I am the one hearing this, yeah? The first time they ever met each other was in Ibiza because Mum was going for a conference.
A conference?
In Spain.
What kind of conference was that?
It was supposed to be a work conference, which was only supposed to be for a day. She didn't even need to go, but she just decided to go because Dad was in England.
Okay.
And Dad ended up taking a flight to Spain. And rest is history. Within 1 year of talking to each other, they both got married. Ibiza. Guys, Ibiza does wonders. Go there, find your lover.
Do you know what? This they say that parents are just big kids who raised kids, and this is like
I'm raising my parents at this point.
I'm getting that vibe that, you know what, even our parents, they could do with a cheeky trip to Ibiza, depending on obviously if that's your thing. Like, I'm personally.
Cheeky trip to Ibiza. They are having a cheeky trip to Mauritius right now, this moment.
big kids raising kids or raising one kid pretty difficultly at this point.
Barely.
Barely raising this kid.
You know what? Yeah. Me and the dog. Like, I think the dog is a better child than I am. I'll be very real.
Yeah, but that's just because you don't like to listen to people.
Why should I when I'm always right?
I think that's where your ego is coming into
You
play.
can agree that I'm always right.
You're not always right, because recently I can think of one place you weren't right.
I did not hear
But
that. La 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 la
But
la la
I
la.
would like to say you're an intellectual person, and despite everything, you do have a lot of good viewpoints on life.
Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
Opinions.
What, that you think something is something, but it turns out it's nothing. No, Mandela effect is like that thing with Monopoly, where you think he had the monocle on his eye, but he doesn't have.
Do you
the
think he
monocle.
didn't?
Do you know what? I can't remember ever seeing him with a monocle.
Do you think Mandela effect is fake?
See, I think Mandela effects. I think for me, it's the fruit of the loom one and the conical on the fruit of the loom. Like, I've always remembered seeing that little conical on fruit of the loom, and apparently, fruit of the loom, it doesn't.
All right, okay. Tell me this: does Mickey Mouse have a tail?
No.
He does. Mickey Mouse has a tail, guys. Mickey Mouse has a tail. Search it up right now.
I have a theory, and that is basically we're just changing timelines and we're just missing out.
Yeah, exactly right. So I've heard
by
that
the way,
theory.
this theory, I don't actually have a theory, but it seems like the theories that suggest we're alternating between timelines.
You okay there?
No, I'm not okay. I'm struggling to get English out of my mouth right now.
Were you glitching? Were you stuck
I was
in a matrix?
glitching. I was just stuck for a moment. I was actually buffering. Talking about getting cancelled. Because we actually live in a time now where I think anything can cancel you. We live at a time where you could have said something 10 years ago and now it's going to cancel you, and you're wrong for having an opinion. Because I thought we lived in a free society. I thought we lived in a free society where, everyone is entitled to their opinion. And yeah, you can voice your opinion to a certain extent so that it doesn't harm other people. However, it turns out that you can't voice your opinion.
You're not living in a free society.
You don't live in a society where your opinion is valued. And we now live in a time where people don't even know how to take criticism. Like, you cannot criticize anybody. I would say, personally, this is a big problem in the UK right now. I work in healthcare. I've worked with children. I've worked with a whole group of people. And the rules get stricter and stricter every year. Every single year, what you can and can't say, what you can and can't do, it gets more tight and tight and tight. And people, they're not flexible anymore. Like, you can offend somebody, and that's essentially you're getting sued. You're getting, completely obliterated on social media. Everything, the whole shebang. Like, you name it, you're finished.
I think, if we keep going on like this, in the next 10 years, this podcast itself could get cancelled just because I'm vaping in it.
This podcast could get cancelled because I said this point. Like, one of you is definitely watching it and behind your little keyboard screen, and you're thinking, how dare he actually say this? How dare he call out society? Especially because
we can't take criticism. I mean, I'm sorry, no, you bloody can't. Let's be real. No, the problem isn't only in taking criticism. It's even in criticizing. People don't know how to politely criticize someone anymore. They don't know how to take criticism. They genuinely do not know how to live in a civil society anymore. Going back to the point of everything coming back into circles, slowly and slowly we're headed back to the caveman era where people just do not know how to communicate, how to live in a civil society.
But do you think maybe that's because, thanks to everything being available all the time, they're not leaving their house, they're not interacting with others? Their form of socializing now, so back in the day, people would socialize and have a third activity. You'd go to work, you would, live your home life, but you have a third activity. Men would go golfing, women would tend to go to some
sexism going on there. I want to go golfing. Can I not golf?
All right, I'm not gender stereotyping golf to males, but I'm saying that people would have activities. You'd go gym, you'd go sports, you do group activities. You'd have a third activity. People's third activity now is sitting and watching Netflix at home. You're not going out, you're not socializing with people. And the less you socialize, the less social skills you have, because you can't tell me that sitting at home, scrolling through Tinder and talking to people on Tinder is the same as meeting someone in real life. In fact, now, it's culturally not accepted to walk up to somebody in a bar. Because if I say did that, or if I hit you up on the bus, that would get taken the wrong way. Whereas back in the day, we lived in a time where you could actually approach people in real life. I think it's one of two things. I think it's one, people are less accepting and people are not used to being approached. And two, it's the fact that people are so busy with everything else that they don't actually allow themselves to have that socialization.
Yeah, and the other thing is, right, everyone's just a keyboard warrior. Everyone's just doing things, doing activities because of trends. You know, everyone, every time they go out for a little coffee, every time they go out for like a concert, whatever, no one's actually going out to enjoy it. Most of them, while getting ready, they would be thinking about, oh yeah, I need to take a picture of this and post it.
I saw the TikTok on this. I saw it was for the Diljit Dosanjh concert. It was
Right.
like people were actually going to enjoy Diljit, and then someone took a photo of everyone was on their phone recording it. And then you question who's actually there for the concert,
No
or
one.
is it for the social media? Now, that's up to you. You guys tell me, yeah, in the comments. You tell me, right? When you go out to concerts, are you going for the concert, or really, well and truly, are you going to get the videos? Are you going to put it on social media? You're basically recording it. Why aren't you just taking it in? Like, why are we now a society where memories have to be on our phone? What about the memories you have in here? Like, where have they disappeared to? I feel like that's why we go back and we're nostalgic about our childhood, because at least we had a childhood where we actually have memories in our head, and I think
We were the last ones to do
beautiful.
that.
Those are beautiful memories, you know.
I think at this point, good memories or bad, I'm just glad I've got memories. Like, realistically, if you actually think about it, if you're going to a concert, recording it and not actually listening to it, and then going back home and then listening to it again, that's as good as just watching the concert on TikTok. Or like listening to it on Spotify would probably be better because the sound quality is better on Spotify than it is on your phone.
You know, that's why I don't go to concerts. I actually feel like they're not enjoyable because the sort of people that go to them, and then it's the fact that I could actually just stream you online.
Again,
That
everything's
sounds sad,
so
I know, because you're meant to go out, you're meant to enjoy concerts, but really, to me, it's like you go out and what? Like then what?
everything's so much more accessible. Again, like all of these things, all of these like interactive galleries and exhibitions and everything. People go there dressed all pretty, take photos and leave. People have been going to like all of these expensive five-star restaurants, hotels, all of that, right? Taking photos of the lobby or of the probably like the £10 coffee that they ordered and leaving. Because one, they probably don't belong there, not because of anything else, but most likely because they cannot afford an entire meal. However, they want to show off on social media. They want to pretend that, oh yeah, I went to this place and I can afford practically everything. It doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter. It would be so much more special if you go there when you're actually ready to spend that much on stuff. But right now, they're just going there, buying the cheapest thing on the menu, taking a photo of the surroundings, posting it as if you've been there for like 10 hours, and leaving.
Guys, why are we validating people based on their social media profiles and not on who they are as a person? Like, why are we not genuinely doing activities for ourselves anymore? We need to go back to a time where we're living in the moment. We're not living in the moment.
No
And I
one
think it's
is.
really important that we highlight this and we put out there that, like, our lives are not our phones. Our digital life is complete. Even though they say what's on the internet is there forever, your digital life is erasable. You are as insignificant as pretty much anything you're about to discard, because
As a grain of sand.
as a grain of sand, I guess that's one way to put it. But what we need to focus on is making actual genuine connections and memories in our lifetimes, because really, and obviously having worked with in the NHS, I'll tell you one thing: when you see elderly people on their dying beds, yeah, you don't see them thinking, oh, I needed to have made more money, I should have worked more, I should have done all of those things. What would they rather have had? Good quality time with their family, with their loved ones, with their friends. And I'm not even just saying elderly people. I've seen young people very sadly pass away or have these, these horrible diseases, or I forgot what you called them. The diseases that are basically going to end up killing you anyway. And literally all they would want is, like, cancer. What's it called? What would you call those diseases? Autoimmune diseases that eventually they're going to kill you, like arthritis or something, right?
Yeah.
Young people. And they don't want social media. They don't want to go and show off. It doesn't matter how much money you have at that point, because really it's just how well have you lived your life, and how much time do you spend with your family and friends, because those are memories that are going to last forever for your family and for you. Whatever you believe in your next life is going to be, how you lived your life and those actions, they play a big part.
I mean, you do have 7 minutes after you die for your brain to just replay your entire life as a movie in your head, like as a dream, right? In our generation, most of us are going to have our memories of phones. Like 90% of our dreams is probably going to be phones in those last 7 minutes. I think one of the most romantic things to ask someone is, will I be a part of your 7 minutes, right? And realistically, no, probably not. Not many actual genuine humans are going to be a part of your 7 minutes. It's probably going to be a phone screen or like something you did for the phone screen. One of my really like happy moments with someone I dearly loved was it was snowing, and we had the camera recording us, and we took a video of him like picking me up and like spinning me around or whatever, like the Disney princess moment, right? That's one of the happy moments, but that wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for the phone, if it wasn't to like record it, if it wasn't to have that on my phone, you know? It wasn't just to make a memory, it wasn't a genuine moment, it was just to record it. And if that were to be in my 7 minutes, it won't be the memory that's in my 7 minutes, it would be the recording that's in my 7 minutes, if that makes sense.
That, I feel like it might be difficult for people to understand that, but I think when you really think about, if you know, we have 7 minutes, and these recordings have the thing, they have the ability to change your memory.
Yeah.
Like
We
your
all-
memory is no longer what you've perceived, but it's from that third party perception.
Like right now, I do not remember, even though that moment is special to me, I do not remember what it felt like in that moment. You know, because I saw the video a lot more times than I actually recalled the memory. So now it's the video which is ingrained in my brain rather than the memory. And that's the case with a lot of things. If you think about it, I'm sure you have something like that as well, where you do not have the memory of it, but you have the recording of it because you saw the pictures or the videos more times than you recall the memory. And if you could like collapse your entire life into 7 minutes, most of your memories would be the recordings or the pictures that you've seen a lot more times than recalled the memories.
I had to take a minute to process that.
Yeah, that was a lot of memories.
That was a lot of memories, but it was more the idea that, yeah, we, at least for example, we had like albums and photos and things.
Yeah.
But now everything is a Snapchat memory, and I'm guilty of it. I'm a man who practically, has a video for everything. You know, my friends will know this. Yeah, I am the videographer. Partly because that's my passion, but I think for me, there's a video of everything out there.
For me, I'm usually like the group clown. So for me, I have a video of every single incident that I'm talking about. If I'm saying, oh, you know what, I saw this really pretty squirrel on the road, I probably have a picture of that really pretty squirrel that I was talking about.
I've just sat in deep to what you're saying, and it's like I have a memory of an event, but I can only see the event now through the video, and I'm thinking about it now. Some amazing, amazing memories are there through my phone. They're there because I can see the footage of it, and I can only see that footage now.
You can't think of the memory,
I can't think of the memory.
I have had these kind of moments with you, you know, when we were driving to Heathrow and we took that entire like long video. I do not remember what we were talking about, but the only thing that I actually remember from that entire drive is the footage, because we recorded almost the entire drive.
You know what's funny? I remember what happened on that drive because I haven't seen the footage and I was driving.
You didn't have the footage.
I actually have memories of that day.
I don't, because instead of recalling the memory, I saw the footage a lot more times because I have the footage in my phone right there.
Wow.
So for me, that drive is through a camera lens. It's not through like my eyes.
So me and her have two different perceptions of a time we
Completely
spent
different.
together, based on the idea that you have footage of it and I don't.
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't pay attention to the fact that it was on video, Whereas you did.
Yeah, because it was on my phone. I actually, so even after all of that, I went through, I looked at the entire footage, you know, I tried making sense of like what we were talking about. I laughed at it, you know, all of that.
We had a sing along. We had an
We
amazing
had
sing
so
along. We had a
much.
throwback to every generation of music. I remember we had some deep life conversations. As always, every conversation is deep with you. I think we always end up talking
Yeah,
about life,
somehow.
culture, society, religion, and I feel like it's an amazing thing to be able to do that. And I think you do have to live in the moment for those things, and you have to be accepting and generally.
Like you remember all of that. You remember all the topic we spoke about. In my head, I can only remember what we looked like. In my head is the actual footage that's playing in my head
See, I can see
right
her
now.
falling asleep because it was like 6 o'clock in the
Oh
morning.
God. Yeah.
I remember that. And then I remember driving up the ramp and thinking, oh my God, I might have got a speeding ticket, which thankfully, yeah, in retrospect, no speeding ticket. But you might not even remember that.
I don't. I don't. I don't.
That's
Honestly,
fantastic.
the perceptions, the perspectives. Sorry, my bad. But like the different perspectives of how you remember things, depending on what you like, what role you played in that conversation. Because my role was to like record it in like a behind the scenes podcast kind of moment, right? You were just driving, you were just doing your thing.
That now thinking about it, the first time we met many years ago, the memory I have from it, the Smarties you gave me at the end, because we have
Oh
we
yeah.
have a photo with the Smarties. I can't sit and tell you what that whole conversation was
Neither.
about. What did we do that day?
Yeah, we've got photos from Smarties, and I remember.
I'm gonna add that photo. I'm gonna send you the photo.
It was. I think it was me like holding
the photo, and you're gonna add the Smarties photo, right?
Make sure you zoom into it. Zoom into the Smarties. That was like the moment.
I think this is where Mandela effects are created. The idea that we have a perception of something because we've lived through it in a.
But is it a Smarties photo or is it a lollipop photo?
See, this is what I'm saying. Because I think our memories are so distorted because of photos and because of not actually living in the moment.
I think Smarties was later on. It wasn't the first time. And I think we have a lollipop photo.
I think our point is proven exactly, and only in the post-production will we find out who was right. So in post-production, we're going to see if I was right, if Simon was right. But
no, after this podcast, I'm probably going to bring up that photo. We don't even need to wait till post-production. I think it was a lollipop.
The point is, guys, live in the moment and enjoy some of the time that you have, because you don't know how long you have. Honestly, I read a thing, and I was a big believer in, you only live once. Live your life to the maximum. I read something else, actually. You only live, you die once. You only die once. You live twice. And so you want to make sure that your second life, whatever form that might be, you've lived a life worthy of living that second life.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in reincarnation, whether you believe in life after death, even if you believe nothing happens after you die, you only die once. And so your whole life amounts to your death. So really, it's not about, going about and snorting coke off the sidewalk, but it's about living a meaningful and, a life worthy of you remembering, and a life that, say, you have an afterlife, if you believe in that, that's going to bring you something positive later on.
Yeah. Have memories in your 7 minutes. Have memories, not footage.
Yeah. I'm still gonna say here, and this is just the the little teenager still inside me, is bad decisions make the best memories. So listen, yeah.
Oh, I have seen this man through all of his
make the bad decisions, but learn from them. Trust me when I say learn from them, because the best person you can invest in is yourself.
I think you should have a bad decisions phase. Don't live in the bad decisions.
Yeah.
Make bad decisions and move on.
Look, not everything is going to go your way, but you have to believe that you're taking steps towards making yourself better. If you stay in the exact same state and you do absolutely nothing about it, the unfortunate truth that not a lot of you want to hear is the fact that if you don't take action, nothing's going to happen. And I know I'm putting a lot of psychologists out of business here. I'm putting a lot of this mental health teams out of place because, nowadays we do live in a time where, unfortunately, and I'm sorry if you do suffer from genuine mental health problems, that, everything is a disease now, you don't need to take action for anything in life. And I think that's wrong. We're teaching everyone to just accept how they are. However,
ignorance.
We do need to, we're teaching ignorance. Whereas we do actually need to sit and reflect on ourselves. The deeper you know yourself is the deeper you understand other people.
And you know what? Like, there are two types of people, yeah? One is everyone who's like diagnosing themselves with anything and everything just because there's like something that's wrong slightly, right? And then there's one which there are genuine diagnoses, but they're still doing absolutely nothing about it. The only way that you can find which things need diagnosing, which things don't, which things are a part of life, is if you just sit down and deep your actions for a second. Like, oh yeah, you forgot to take your keys once. Was that a genuine mistake, or does that mean you've got ADHD? You know, if you deep it for a second, you'll know instantly.
And we're not sitting here and criticizing people who do have
Oh,
genuine conditions.
of course
but
not.
we all know that there is a population out there that uses diseases and these disorders to their advantage, where really it's unfair on the actual people who suffer from the problems. In fact, it gives them a bad name. We're actually ruining,
Yeah.
mental health has become so stigmatized. But I guess that's the idea of this. Nothing Off Limits is, designed to bring up these conversations that, you might not be hearing in mainstream media, conversations that we feel like are important to us, and we want you to hear them and be a part of our conversations. And you got to remember, this is just our opinion. Maybe in 10 years' time, our opinions will change, science will change, life will change. But based on right now, it's for your entertainment, and it is just voicing our opinions. And so,
Maybe some food of thought as well.
and food for thought.
Food of thought? Food for thought. Food
You know
for
what?
thought.
There's one thing I will say here, and it is, taking accountability of any form. If we can take absolute self-accountability, we'd all be insane human beings, and that's difficult
Yeah.
sometimes. But being able to be accountable to yourself, to others, it really helps you. I think that's what we're lacking.
Yeah.
We're lacking an accountability. It's now everything is accepted. When you have a society where everything is accepted, you stand for nothing, and we don't want to stand for nothing. We want to stand for nothing off limits. That's what we want to stand for.
Love the marketing.
Big branding moment right there. I feel like for this episode, I think this was some good food for thought.
I will see you guys again, though. I should be back at some point.
I think considering the fact that today we've had a lot of problems with setup, a lot of problems that we're gonna end the episode here.
Yeah.
But I promise you guys, if you like, if you share, if you follow, and you enjoyed my conversation with Simran, I'm gonna bring Simran back, and we're gonna sit and we're gonna talk about more topics. In fact, put in the comments, comment and tell me what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about, and maybe top comment, I'll bring them in on a live call and we'll sit and talk about it together.
That is a
Sounds
good
like
idea.
a good idea. And on that note, guys, I'm gonna wrap up today's episode. Oh, we missed out on the rapid fire round.
Next time.
It's another time. This
Next
episode
time.
is an exception. Rapid fire round coming next time. Thank you, Simran.
That was a really bad
That was
dub.
such a bad handshake.
Okay.
It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys. Peace.
Bye.